All right.
Great, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone.
Okay.
Hi guys. Thanks for
Hi.
taking the time and being here. It's very sweet. Okay, cool. Hello. Nice to meet you all. My name is Elias. I am French. I'm usually based in Paris. Right now I'm in Berlin. There was ETH Berlin and ETH Prague, Ethereum events for the Ethereum community, and now I'm back in Berlin just for 1 week. There's going to be Zoo Berlin, so I will be there,
Nice.
and I will be back then in Paris, my hometown, which I miss but also hate, so I don't miss it so much.
But you miss your cats, and your cats you don't hate, you just love, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just just checking.
Still true. Okay. Just so I understand, who here is like learning dev for the first time?
Learning what?
So,
Learn that.
okay, nice. So Rest is like a veteran dev.
No, not at
No.
all.
We have
You have a-
we have a lot of levels here. Some people,
Okay,
hi,
nice.
Carla, so we have some. I mean, people learning Cairo for the first time as myself. Some people that already knew a little bit. Some people that are entrepreneurs. Some people that are students, coders, hackers, etc. So
Okay.
different levels.
Okay, nice. Hello. So I guess today I was asked to share my experience. So I will do just that, and then explain a bit what we've been doing in the Starknet ecosystem for now 2 years, almost 2 years, a bit less. So I'll do it. So maybe for 10 minutes I'll explain my like background and what led me to become dev. Then I'll explain what I understand about crypto and also my journey, because I'm somewhat of a late bloomer, I think, in crypto. Like I joined without believing, and now I believe.
Not a late bloom. Not for
Yeah,
us.
late. Yeah, true, actually. And then we can chat a bit. If anyone has questions, if my voice breaks because of internet, maybe do a sign like this. And then if
Okay.
you have a question, like just ask. You can interrupt me. It's fine. Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Nice. So right. So I'm actually, I'm not so young, but I'm 26. I've started working for 3 years now. So basically, my background is I finished high school and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was hesitating between being an engineer in China. Actually, there was a school in Beijing that accepted me. I had also the opportunity to be in social sciences and political sciences in Paris, or do math, and I took the two latter. So I did a double degree in math and social sciences, but mainly because I couldn't choose. Then masters was the same, and I just couldn't decide. So I just took math and social sciences. And then when I realized that this was leading me to be either a consultant or a banker, I tried it. Then I decided I didn't like it so much, even though it was fine, but it was not for me. So I switched into dev, and I was already into crypto. And I switched into crypto because one of my friends from math uni, two of my friends from math uni, one was a Bitcoin maximalist and the other one was into dev. And so they just asked me to just start working in blockchain. And I think I did well. I think it's an opportunistic thing. Is blockchain, I noticed, is the least gate kept ecosystem in the world. There's no gatekeeping.
Okay.
So if I wanted to work in banking in Paris, I should have a master's degree. I should have experience, recommendation, and maybe 2 years experience. In crypto, is like, hey, are you coming to the daily? And then it's like the link is open. So this is a bit my experience in crypto is with a lot of just not even ambition, just curiosity. You can go a really long way. There's also this concept of vacuum. I didn't invent it, but someone from Starknet actually mentioned it. Is when there's a lot of happening, but not a lot of people, and also problem with who can deliver and who believes. There's a lot of vacuum, and so if you are actually driven and focused, you will actually get like sucked in really fast. Does that make sense? Some people call it something else, but I really feel it's a vacuum. So when a good example of that is I actually started my experience in the Algorand ecosystem. So for those who don't know Algorand, it's a blockchain ecosystem that is a layer 1, and it was invented by the person who invented zero knowledge proof, basically. His name is Silvio Micali. He worked with Shafi and Eli Ben Sasson, the CEO of Starkware. They worked together to invent Snarks and Starks, and so he's very smart, and he had the smart idea to do another chain than Ethereum. It didn't work so well, but anyway, when I started the blockchain, there was still a doubt. People were still unsure if this idea of Ethereum killers was a hoax or an actual thing. Turns out it was a hoax, but maybe except Solana. But anyway, and so I joined like a little company that worked on the Algorand ecosystem, and I noticed that after like 2 months, I was the one negotiating the grants for them, but I had no experience. I was completely improvising. But there was this idea of vacuum. Like if someone shows up and is very driven, I don't know, they get promoted in Web 2. I worked 1 year in Web 2. I had to actually ask a lot to get more responsibility, and it wasn't given to me. In crypto, like people ask you to take responsibility because there's no one. And this is true for any group. Okay. Why did it cut? Yeah, in crypto, people ask you to take responsibility. So I think this is one very good thing that you notice. I'm sorry. What is this? I'm getting cold. Sorry. My bad. Yeah, all good. I'm back.
Sorry, you're cutting.
Okay. Tell me, is it better now?
Yes, now better.
Okay, nice. Okay, so that's, I guess, the first thing that kept me in crypto is if you want more, you'll probably get more of responsibility. So that's how kind of I went from Algorand slowly into the Ethereum ecosystem, because I knew people from the Ethereum ecosystem, and I knew that this was probably the better place. At least for me, I saw a lot of potential. And fast forward, because it's not too important, but after like 2 years of experience, I landed a bit randomly in the Starknet ecosystem. Actually, the story is fun. I was working at a French dev shop in Paris as a full stack engineer, and I really wanted my dev shop to start like doing more crypto. So I kept like asking them and doing some presentations on why crypto is the next new thing. And at some point, there was like a company night out. It's just your boss is paying a like open bar for their employees, and I ran into my CEO who's drunk, and I told him that he should send me to the next crypto events that we're covering. And so that's how he made the decision. He wrote it in his notes to buy me a plane ticket to Starknet Lisbon, which was the first community conference I went, and I participated in the Hacker House.
That's so nice.
Cool.
So I mean, I guess
We took your boss drunk, and then
Yeah, that's what I got too.
yeah, that's my lesson. Ask when someone is at their weakest. That's the lesson. Go for the kill. No, I'm kidding. But that's how I met Abdel, who is the lead exploration team of Starknet. And no, life does things quite well. Like I was a like front-end back-end engineer, but I had no knowledge in VM, and I kept hearing the words like virtual machine. I think it's a very complicated subject. At least when I got in, I didn't understand anything about EVM, Cairo VM. I thought I understood, but I didn't understand. And I didn't understand to the point that I didn't understand. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think we have lots.
And so when I landed there, at least it took me 3 months. 3 months to start understanding what I didn't understand. 6 months to not feel the crushing pain of imposter syndrome. Now it's just normal pain. And then 1 year to actually like do something that is like high productivity and being high driven. That's kind of my experience. And then I guess coming to Ethereum, actually I wanted to do something where I think it's anyone has their own beliefs and core things that drives them. I know I do things because I care, So when I joined, I cared about not being like how do you call this, hindered by like either hierarchy or even opportunity. I was I don't know how to say, like very calm and greedy at the same time. I don't know how to explain. Like ambitious but chill. I just wanted to do something where no one stops me, and it didn't mean like hierarchy high or being a founder or anything. It just meant being unhinged. Yeah, unhinged. I will say this. So I joined, and I felt like Starknet was the perfect choice for this because of this vacuum I mentioned. But only now do I realize the power of actually like this triptych of Ethereum ecosystem, like this internet of value, zero knowledge proof, and like the general gist of verifiable compute. So I think now that I hang out more with people from Ethereum Foundation, like I don't know, cool people. One person is called Yoav. He's working on account abstraction. Doesn't matter too much, but he almost works for Starknet, and he explained many things to me. But one cool thing is basically a few cool things is for me, Ethereum is just a simple way to have. Did it cut? I'm cutting.
Yes,
Hello?
you're cutting a little bit. We are some words, some not.
Okay. You're cutting as well a bit.
So you were saying,
You were telling us about the guy explaining you about ZK.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
You learned something.
So, yeah, I guess the main thing I learned is whatever happens to Ethereum, the network, for sure, the like every single like the compute over the wire is going to be verifiable by like 5 or 10 years. This is for sure. Like my observation of the modern world is things are becoming increasingly digital. Like I don't know, but if you look at Europe, we're going towards like 0% cash and very faster than I thought. But everything is also digital, and it makes no sense to not have verifiability as part of the digital world. So, like, there's many examples, but one clear example is in two examples. One
We
is, for
lost you.
example, yeah, can you still hear me? Should I pause? Hello?
Hey, okay. Now you're back.
Okay, nice.
I turned off just to check if it's better. It doesn't really change a lot. So,
Okay, nice. Yeah, but I mean, the mental model I get. Okay, I'll start from just Ethereum. The mental model I have for Ethereum is simply this. It's a layer for coordination and cooperation between people, where the it's cutting still. Oh, it's fine.
yeah, it is cutting. We are losing.
okay, just let me try because we really want to hear what you're saying.
Okay, no problem. I'll be patient. If you are, it's fine for me.
Hecho todo en esta colección.
Vai ter um Starlink no próximo.
É, a gente comprou, só que não ia chegar a tempo. Sorry, Elias, because we are like in the mountains, so
Yeah.
any wind
Or
actually damaged connection. Next time we'll have a Starlink, the Elon Musk thing.
Nice.
So
I have it in Spain.
it's better. Yeah, does it work well?
Yeah, it works pretty well actually.
Nice. I'm so
Is it
sorry.
better now? Do you want to speak now or not?
I think we can continue.
You
Now
were
it's
saying
working.
that your insight on that everything is increasingly more digital and everything must be verifiable. I don't know, 5-10 years from now.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess the main thing I understood is that basically you can achieve this in many ways. It's not too hard. The only hard part is to make sure that you don't have centralizing forces. And centralization is a weird word, at least for me as a French person. I never realized it was a problem because I'm lazy and I don't care. And so if PayPal works and Amazon works and Google works, I genuinely don't care. And I also have some type of buy-in that my government is not going to try and wreck me, which took me some time to realize that this is a minority of people who think this, actually, like maybe Central Europe. And there are like overwhelming number of examples of the opposite, where, for example, friends from Argentina whom I met from Lambda class have had their government like divide the value of their currency by like half every 10 years for like 40 years, which doesn't feel so good. And the second part is basically, yeah, it's everything should be verifiable, but in a way that you don't have to rely on someone who is getting bigger every year. So a simple example to this is you probably don't want, I don't know, it's actually very simple. You don't want people to steal your food. You don't want people to kill you. And a simple way to not have people do it is to put security cameras in your city, have very strong AI embedded in every camera. And if someone has the eyes or even the sentiment of a killer, you alert the police, they arrest him, and the world is better. And I think this is actually achievable within 10 years. But the problem is now you have centralizing forces where the person who has the software and the police can really do whatever they want. So if at some point you have the unlock for any dictator, or not even dictator, just people who have different views of the world as you, go into power, you genuinely cannot do anything. Like I heard someone in a speech in Ethereum is very interesting. Is in 1789, like in France, the revolution. Okay, the king is doing dumb stuff. You can still ally with someone who doesn't like the king, like the bourgeoisie, get a couple of guns, get a bunch of people, and then you got yourself a revolution. Like, good job. Maybe you are Libya and it's 2017 and you don't like the dictator, and you buy some guns from someone else, another country. And maybe it's not France, it's I don't know, China, and then you can get a bit of tanks and you do it. But in 30 years, this will be overwhelmingly hard, like genuinely hard, because if every single camera and every single traffic on the internet is identifiable and there is no more cache, it will just be one click, and it won't even have to be done by a human. Like if you don't like someone, and there are like currencies governed by the government, and going around is also controlled by the government, and your government doesn't like you, one click of a button and you are erased. Like, you cannot work for cash anymore, or if you do, you are so marginalized, and all those things. So this, and I'm not even a militant, or I'm not like a anarchist. I think I've led my life in a very comfortable, like in Paris, and I've not been educated in anarchist view, but this is simply logic. Like if you are in a world that has very strong security because you can do it, because the computers are getting smart, you have all the power. And if I was a state, I would probably want to control my population. And I would think as the state, I have a better view on things, which sometimes is not true. Like states, for example, they dislike crypto because they want the ability to mint money. Why? Because they want to lead monetary policy as they see fit, right? And they think that if they do it for the people. This is actually my view. I truly believe that many politicians think they're doing it for the good of everyone. But it just so happens that they're not doing it right, like because it's very hard to lead monetary policies and so on. So this is my view, and I feel like crypto, in this sense, is the only system where you have programmable money that is not controlled by humans. It's just controlled by like software, and it's decentralized in the sense that everyone has equal power, or at least in the capitalistic view, because the more money, the more power, but still. And so what you get from this is some kind of like weird internet that goes back to the views of people, I think, from like the 90s, where basically you use zero knowledge technology to prove whatever you want. So this is actually quite programmable, and you use just the cryptocurrencies as this means of exchange and cooperation. Like you can still say to someone, I will give you 6 hours of my time, and I will give you this amount of money. But now it just so happens that a government cannot censor you anymore. So if you're a journalist and in a country, maybe even America, where the government hates you, you will not get like your accounts frozen, but you will still work for an amount of time and you will produce thoughts. And then people will say, I like this thought, and they will buy it. This is as simple as this. And then you will be able to do new stuff with zero knowledge proof. So for example, a very simple example of this is you will be able to take your passport, extract your nationality, then look at your wallet, extract the like times you have exchanged between you and people from Starknet community, and you will be able to say with a proof without revealing your identity, I am over 18, I am from Brazil, and it's been 1 year since I've consistently exchanged currencies with Starknet people. And you will produce a proof of this. This is mathematical, and you will be able to give this proof to someone who says, are you a real OG or not? This is actually possible today, but the way you do it is connect with Google. And then you link your Google account, and then maybe you do also a link with Facebook, and then the website is going to obtain a lot of information on you. And I think this is cool. This is for increased human coordination. It just so happens that Google and Facebook are like, you can think what you want on them. They're doing good products and they're capitalists, so of course they want to become bigger. But it just so happens that in many countries, for example in China, they don't have those. So increasingly, as countries push for their own like FANG to be big, you are literally separating people. So there is no way I can prove that I'm friends with a Chinese person unless I use their like WeChat profile and I leak my WeChat like data to WeChat, or they leak their data to Google. And so I don't know. Actually, I genuinely don't know what will happen in the future, but for sure, either corporations will become as big as countries, and then they will have like the power of a country, or a country will want to control the data of corporations. But in any case, for sure, this means that individuals become less powerful, and you end up in a world where I think this might be fine because I'm not so optimistic about it, but you definitely end up in a world where you are not essentially a sheep, but at worst, a minor. You're actually a minor doing things that the people who are powerful accept you to do. So I think this is a world where you have completely synthetic freedom, like completely. Because think about it, like the human activity has been towards reducing, like increasing security, reducing violence, and increasing people to do exactly what you want them to do. And I'm not even saying this as like a conspiracy theorist. I'm genuinely saying this because if you are a state and you have the power to cut someone off from society with one click, you can do it programmatically with AI, and they have no way, absolutely no way to escape this. And they have also no way to like revolt, like do a revolution. Then you effectively have like a bit synthetic life. And it's a bit what we're seeing right now. Like everything is becoming increasingly artificial. So the only means of crypto is just to say we have a way to have the same amount of comfort from technology. So the comfort of one click, be able to vet someone, exchanging value from like Brazil to Paris in like half a second, having actual systems of value that are interesting, not just going back to barter or actually just saying I only want cash because I don't want the state to know what I'm doing, because this is just not going to be practical. So I feel for me at least it's just going to a practical world where you can still have all the benefits of technology and not too many risk of the digital era of the state being almighty. And I think Ethereum achieves this by being like the world computer, and it has the best community of people who are actually like wondering about this. And Starknet has a very good tech because they invented Starks, and they invented basically this ability to compress compute into very tiny things that are SDK proofs. And they're a tool to achieve this. So in being in the Ethereum ecosystem, you're exposed to these people who say, what if what if we invent this web of people who are able to still go through digital era, but not lose their, I don't know, their weird beauty in being like mighty, or actually engage in what you're able to do. So this is now how I view Ethereum and crypto, all in all. If also the part that makes me most excited about crypto is also this idea that it's an open sky backend, like composability. I find it very cool. So I don't know, but just is the same for ZK. Is the idea that because everything is on chain, not everything is on chain, but everything is signed because you have your key, you have your digital identity. Everything is composable. So if you are in this community of devs and you produce Cairo code or even just presentations, at some point you will be able to reuse it. And the simplest example is DeFi. Like if you create a coin, this coin will be usable by anyone who has a protocol. Or if you create an NFT, you create an NFT for this event, and it's like the only NFT for this event. In 10 years, someone will be able to use it and like derive some information that you are here. And it's the same for everything. But this is just to say that composability aspect is pretty nice. And yeah, I mean, sorry, I got really philosophical, but at least this is the latest of my views on why crypto is cool. And more is just, it's not essentially like it is short term, this like very fast capitalist structure of thought where every project raises a lot of money, and we are no exception. And then you wonder later how to actually bring value. But the primitives that are introduced into the world, they're actually very interesting for empowering individuals in an era that is and will be fully digital. That is kind of my view. And then you just have to choose a team and a community of people whom you trust, and then build some cool shit, and then go back to not being too philosophical and just coding stuff, or even just building stuff. That's it.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. We talked a few months ago about how much why we are in crypto, and now I think you have shared your updated perspective.
Yes.
Very happy that you talked about this with that person from where is it? Who did you talk to?
I mean, many people probably heard a bit from Vitalik. Yoav, he was speaking about wallets, but it's just a general view on value and money and stuff.
Yeah, and because you work with Kakarot, which is pretty not abstract, but it's very infrastructure, right? So we cannot, for now, see the use cases. We are eventually going to see them, but for now, it's very infrastructure and very technical. And so with this is how you find your balance to keep working with something you don't see the end yet, but you're there being a part of this whole movement. So is it something that I think I'm just one last philosophical question on this topic. Is your ideal to bring not a synthetical freedom to people, but actually giving them ownership then? Is it part of the reason why you're doing this?
I'd like to be part of something. Yeah. I don't know if I want to bring it to them, me personally, but I would want to be a human that lives in a world where this is possible. I'm probably, it's part of my personality, I'm very adaptable, so I would probably adapt like humans do, like a cockroach, if we live in a world where the government tells you what to do and you're not supposed to move outside of it, and probably you can still be happy. Like you'll be born and they'll give you like universal income, and then you'll be able to do like a list of things, like maybe read books, go work, maybe try to bring value to society, not be violent, not be like against the state or against corporations. And then you have like an incomplete life, but you still live. I don't know. But it would be funnier if we could have like patchworks of communities that coordinate themselves based on common objective. I still believe that life is probably about finding good friends and solving hard problems that are problems of humanity when you are alive. This is, I should have probably said this, I think, is the point of life. So and the government is probably, its only role is to make sure you're allowed to do it. It's not to do something else. The government, for me, is just here to make sure you can coordinate with people and create webs of trust. If it's going against this, then there should probably be other, at least counterpowers, like checks and balances, like a little space of freedom where you can be a marginal person, but without living on the streets and stuff. I also heard some guy from privacy. He like worked with the biggest white hat hackers and open source developers in the world, but because he's anti-state, he lived in like, he squatted buildings in the 90s and he built really cool software. But he's a hardcore guy. I want to sleep in a hot bed and not having to worry about the state. But yeah, and so I want to live in a world where we can do whatever we want, probably, and be unhinged, probably. I think crypto achieved this. I think there's probably, if I was to redo either my studies or my work, I mean, I did fine, but I would go into either ecology or crypto. I think is the two main things that make sense today.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I thank you for sharing. I think it is really inspiring because, as you said, you don't need to be super hardcore in terms of, I mean, philosophically questioning everything, to be aware that things are not really great at the world at the moment. And I think our commitment as startup funders, as creators, as devs, should be first, do not harm others, right? So with your projects, start with a project that whatever you're building is bringing some positive, good results, good experiences to people. Because we are used to creating business in the traditional world without thinking about that. As you said, the impact or the positive efforts or compensating is something faster. You build a business. Questioning you, then maybe do something to kind of try to
Hello, you're cutting. Hello. Hello.
Está o aparelhinho, ou será que dá para
Tá, acho que é de trás.
De quem é esse Poco X3? Será que a gente pode...
É o meu, pode usar.
Pode usar? Tá boa?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Cybersecurity.
Thank you for being so patient.
No worries.
Yeah, we now are using the internet from one of the hackers, so
nice,
hopefully his is better.
Yeah, I was just getting philosophically, but the question was, what are the projects on Web3? I mean, could be from Ethereum, from other ecosystems, from Starknet, of course. What are the projects that you are more excited about, that are more aligned in your view with what you were saying, that are bringing more freedom, more opportunities to people? Things that you're excited about.
I mean, it's a good question. They don't even have to be oriented towards freedom. A good product that works and that has a use case I think is nice. In Starknet, I'm excited about I mean, I use Ikubo, which is stuff for like exchanging tokens. I like it. I like the team from Dojo. They're building cool games. I think they're building fun stuff. I like Realms. They're building fun games. Then all the infra project in Starknet, I like them because I know them, but they're building interesting stuff and they're really hard at work. Like Starkware, like Pragma, like Lambda class. This is nice. What else? In Ethereum, I mean, I essentially I like the rollups. They're doing a great job. So every rollup, I think they're doing a good job. Like Optimism, Arbitrum, Starknet, zkSync, they're doing cool stuff. And what else? Account abstraction teams. So either in Starknet or in Ethereum, I think they're addressing something really interesting, which is what is a digital identity and how we can make sure people use it as a, like, I don't know, a cool store of value and interaction. So like Coinbase Wallet, ArgentX, Bravos, and then infrastructure players in account abstraction, they're also doing good. Like Pimlico, Biconomy, Alchemy. Yeah, I think that's it. I mentioned during a talk, but Ethereum is essentially a bunch of values. Then if you agree with them, you can see that people involved in Ethereum have created a vision for those values. They've structured it into a roadmap, which is technical. And then every item of the roadmap essentially has improvement proposals, which is the same as laws, but they're passed to the code, the protocol, EIPs, they're called, Ethereum improvement proposals. And this is how Ethereum protocol is upgraded. So I'm also very excited of everyone who takes part in Ethereum governance. There's like hundreds and hundreds of EIPs. They're all very technical. And you can get easily nerd sniped into, like, every single EIP, or at least class of EIP, is at least 2 years of research to please the curious. So I think this is also nice. But the thing I learned also is, yeah, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Hello, Elias. I'm Marlon. Yesterday, Elias spoke about the future of the money and Bitcoin, and what I think about Starknet being a help of Bitcoin.
This is actually exciting. I talked to Avio about this. Avio is the chief product officer of Starknet, and I think it's pretty cool. It makes sense. With the new soft fork of Bitcoin, it's not accepted yet, but if it is accepted, it's called OPCAT. Don't quote me on anything related to Bitcoin. I'm very bad at the technology of Bitcoin. I don't even understand how a UTXO looks like. But what I understand is you can actually achieve, you can have a verifier and you can have data availability, which are the two requirements of a trustless or like a trust minimized rollup. So this idea that if you have a verifier, you are able, if this verifier is on Bitcoin, you are able to make sure that the state of your rollup is safe, so you cannot steal or lie. It's mathematically proven. And if you have data availability, you are sure that the correct data is published, so you can't be censored. So if you have those two elements on Bitcoin, you might have this idea of like highly secure native Bitcoin rollup, which is really fun. There are definitely challenges, but I mean, I'm excited. I think next year we can talk again and we see if Starknet is in production for being a Bitcoin layer 2, but I think it's doable.
Oh, okay. We have
Elias, Sam here. I just want to ask you a question about like a perspective, like a business perspective. What do you think you did like differently? The key things differently that you got there as a Kakarot co-founder? What if you have like advice to the people who wants to create a business on the Starknet ecosystem, but not just on the Starknet, but on the web whole? Just like you have some advice for everybody who wants to create a business?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it really depends. I maybe don't have enough distance yet. It definitely helps to have domain expertise. So I think this should not be underplayed. So domain expertise, if you are the CTO, you should be the best dev, not for long, just for the beginning. So there's this idea that soon, like maybe 6 months after you create the company, it would be good if you're not the best dev anymore, because you must be able to surround yourself with people who are way better than you. But you need to have enough domain expertise so that the people who are better than you, and don't worry, they will know they are better, they need to trust that their time is best used with you. So there is this fine line to walk. I think it's just mainly a fine line. You walk this fine line between being a domain expert, but don't stay in a dark room for 6 years becoming a domain expert, because it's nicer to try to do a company while not being fully ready. So it's like, choose the right amount of difficulty, surround yourself with like trust maximized people, and I think create cultures that like feedback loops, incentives that are really good. So for example, in Kakarot, I can tell you, there is always honest feedback. So if someone does something dumb, you should tell them in one-on-one probably, but you can tell them. If you don't like something, tell it. If something is broken, tell it. If something is not working, you can say it's not working without even proposing a solution, but just being open about it and listen. So this works. Showing up for the people and yourself. So working and not giving up. So I think this all is motivated by being excited. That's it.
I just hear that a lot, like from people who wants to create a business, just like having some experience on the business, like joining a company and have some experience and have, or just don't have this experience at all and just start to create a business. Do you recommend to like who wants to create this business to have the experience on the company, or just go straight to try to create a company actually? So what would be?
I don't know. I mean, if your question is should you be a multi-founder to be a founder, then probably no, because you have to always start somewhere. And if you want to do, I don't know, a business that is a DeFi, and you've only ever done SocialFi, you're probably going to need one person in a team that knows the ins and outs of DeFi. But sure, if you've done AMM and now you want to open a money market, you probably can. When I meant domain expertise, I mean, you need to know the challenges. You need to know to be able to say this is shit and this is good, basically. And you need to be able to say this about your own product and your competitors. And when you do it, then you can always like be nimble and agile. So domain expertise is just the ability to judge and have a form of hierarchy in the quality of the things.
Thank you.
Things.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Salvador. Thanks for sharing and also for keeping it cyberpunk as well. And can you explain a little about Kakarot and what are you doing? What bring you to this idea, and what are the things you're trying to solve?
Yeah. So Kakarot is a zkVM based on Cairo. So in very simple terms, we wrote the Ethereum virtual machine specification using Cairo, the programming language. So if you know Geth or you know Reth or you know Bezu, they are clients. So they run the software of the Ethereum, and they're written in respectively Golang, Rust, and Java. And it's Kakarot, simply another implementation of the Ethereum software using Cairo, the programming language. What you get from this is, by design, you are zero knowledge. So whatever transaction you pass, so if you pass a MetaMask transaction for swapping on Uniswap v2, this you will be able to put it inside a Stark proof, which means that if you're a rollup, this is good because you're going to be able to scale Ethereum and compress compute. So what is the immediate use case of Kakarot? Actually allowing people who are in the Ethereum ecosystem, so Solidity devs, to leverage the Stark technology of Starkware and Cairo. So when we go to mainnet in winter, people will be able to build in Solidity and whatever on Starknet. That's one thing. We believe that Starknet is the best roll-up technology, and we want everyone to be able to use it. The second part is we are going to be able to sell the software to people who want to start their own ZK environment that is EVM compatible. So think any type of business that wants a roll-up as a service, but ZK EVM. And with a twist on privacy, we're investigating it. And the third product is essentially just being able to prove any type of Ethereum compute transaction is going to allow us to be part of the roadmap of Ethereum long term, like 3, 4, 5 years, where Ethereum is going to become a environment where everything is a Stark or a Snark. So for this, you will need very fast provers, and you will need every single compute to run into a verifiable VM. So think RISC-0, Jolt, SP1, and Cairo. So you want essentially every compute, every swap, every NFT, and every exchange, every transaction to be run in a provable way. So this Kakarot should be part of this grander scheme of verifiable internet.
Yes. Oh,
Hello. I just wanna ask about in the same way Sam talk about business market. Like I seen a lot of in Web3 infra projects and financial as well, but end users, I think it's a market we do not explore like in a whole in Brazil. And how to onboarding these end users, or how to do a design a business case that implements Web3 and fishing like these customers too, because staying on legacy, staying on Web2 is comfort to them. And how to do this onboarding.
I guess this for the product teams. I think account abstraction solves this, but it's a feature, so no one cares about features. They want end products. Good examples is you take the good ideas that work well and you make them Web3. And the trap is to try to make every good idea Web3 because maybe it's not so suitable. But I don't know, like for end users, no one wants to handle a MetaMask. No one wants to handle, if you have credit card, you want to stay with the credit card. You want to not break too much the status quo. So some projects are thinking in terms of, well, how can we reach people at the closest of their lives every day and make either Web3 invisible if they don't need it or visible if they need it. So example is you owe someone money, but they're in another country and they don't have a bank. Then you use onboarding techniques that rely on phone number and magic link. If so that exists, I think Base, I'm not supposed to say this, but I don't think Starknet has it, but Base has it. Just examples like this in Ethiopia, I know they have an entire like financial system based on phones, so you just need to replicate good ideas. Hello. It's my thing is like you need to be as close as possible to the people's lives, and you need to know who you target, and then you just need to steal good ideas from people who have them before you. I think that many people had good ideas already. You just need to take them.
Thank you.
thank you. Do you want to say something? You just arrived?
Yes,
Yes.
just getting a chair.
Carla? No. Okay. Well, we are all building projects for Brussels Hacker House. Are you going to be there? In Brussels Hacker House or Starknet CC?
What's that?
In July? Are you going to be in Starknet CC or
Yes.
the Brussels Hacker House?
Yes.
We almost everybody was accepted to Brussels Hacker House here. So yes, so we are very excited to meet you there. And
Do you have a son about this?
yeah, we can ask you. Okay, do you want to ask?
Okay. Hi, Elias.
For our last shy today.
I'm Luis. I'm a little shy. do you have some advice for us? Because I almost will be in the Brussels. But for me, for example, it's like my first experience in the hacker house outside Brazil. And in Brazil is here is my first hacker house. And do you have some advice for beginner, someone like me?
I think I don't want to give too abstract advice. I know it's scary. I mean, I was scared when I got into Lisbon. It was a hacker house, 80 people, and I didn't know anyone in like common rooms. I think just don't be afraid. Everyone started somewhere. Many people are chill, so you must go against the fear of looking dumb, because you should ask the dumb questions, and you should not feel afraid. And if someone makes you afraid, they are dumb. So ask the dumb questions, and if you want to learn how to code, put in the hard work. I think we also make people think they can learn something in 3 months or 6 months. It's way harder than I think, and I've been at it at 3 years, and I'm still shit. So I think embrace the hardship and accept that this is overwhelmingly hard. And if it was easy, probably everyone would do it. But this is very, very, very hard. So it's gonna be hard, and it's gonna be stressful. And if you are chill, then you will embrace it, and then you will turn the stress into something more like bearable.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, I want to just praise you for a second, because all of the dumb questions I've had in the past, and you were present, you know much more about the subject you knew much more about the subject than I did, but still you were the one asking the questions. And from my perspective, it helped me so much, because
Nice.
it was like you were saying at the beginning, I don't even understand what I don't understand. And just by you asking the question, that made me realize, yes, really, I don't understand that. That's a question to have. And it was so nice. So yeah, it's a good advice to give, but it's something I've seen you put in practice in many occasions. But you do it. So it's very nice.
Well, thank you everyone for listening to me, and have a good day. And I hope to see you soon in Brussels.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. See ya.
You